everyone. Welcome to the final Voice of Gen Z speech for the Gen Z Summit. We are so happy that we still have people here, even though it's been a very long weekend. But without further ado, I will. I'm so happy to introduce Alice Sarr, who will be talking about the importance of learning. So, without further ado, let's just get started.
Oh, so I can start. Good afternoon or evening or wherever you are, my esteemed listeners, and welcome to my Voice of Gen Z speaking bit named The Importance of Learning. Thank you all for being here, and let's get started. Here's a basic overview of what I'm basically going to be talking about today. So, first, we're going to be doing an icebreaker activity, then a little bit about me, and then the background behind this whole speaking thing, my passion and privilege, as well as influential people and voices throughout history in the field of education, and my thank you slides. So before I introduce myself, I want to do an icebreaker game. So I see let's play Two Truths and a Lie. What Two Truths and a Lie is, there are two statements here that are true and one of them is a lie. So the 57th digit of pi is 7. The indigenous people of New Zealand are called Maori, and the first calculator was invented in 1934. I'll give you guys this song's length to put your answers in the chat.
Tracksuits and red wine, movies for two. We'll take off our phones.
Oh, do you guys want to go back to the statements?
We'll play Nintendo, though I always lose. Cause you watch the TV while I'm watching you. There's not many people I'd honestly say.
Oh, I should have put these together on the same side as the music. It's fine. I can put it in the chat if you guys want.
Yeah, you can also probably open up a new tab and play it.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, it's right here.
Tracksuits and red wine, movies for two. We'll take off our phones and we'll turn off our shoes. We'll play Nintendo, though I always lose.
Did you guys already get it?
The TV while I'm watching you. There's not many people
I love this song, by the way. This reminds me of
I don't mind
comfortableness, you know?
But there's nothing like doing nothing.
Keep looking at the chat, but
with you.
Did you guys already get it? What was the point of the song then? Okay.
We lose track of time. Have I told you lately? I'm grateful you're mine.
I'm gonna pause the music. Very sorry to pause the music. This song's wonderful though. But you all pretty much already got it. The lie is number 3. The first calculator was invented in 1934. The first electronic calculator was invented in the 1960s to 1970s, and the very first one was invented in the 1600s. How did you guys get that? I'm assuming that most of you guys didn't have it already in your head. Google, exactly. And with that, oh wait, no, I have one more slide. The human mind is our most fundamental resource, as John F. Kennedy says. You, how do you know what? Okay, there's some wonderful people here. With that, I'll segue into my introduction, a little bit about me. My name is Alice. I prefer Ali though. You guys can call me whatever. I am a proud member of the LGBTQ plus and community, or the alphabet mafia, and also a person of color. I use any pronouns. I am the ASB Associate Student Body President at my school. I'm also starting a club that I'm calling Project Human Rights. I am the California Juniors Scholarship Federation Secretary at my school. I'm also the Board of Directors and Journalism Head of a wonderful organization called mental health awareness for minorities. I am a writer for She Shines magazine. I also run an account on Instagram. That's definitely a self-promo right there, where I spread information. I consider myself an advocate and activist, and I plan on being a future teacher. I'm a leader, and I'm learning each and every single day. And I also crochet. I was going to bring something to show you guys, but I forgot to, so it's fine. Now, doing all of these things and also fighting for basic human rights as a member of the Alphabet Mafia and a person of color, you would expect it to be a lot of work, and I don't have too much free time. But out of all my responsibilities, one that I prioritize above others is educating myself and spreading accurate information to others. So, whoops. So, background and the topic of misinformation. Um, Back in early June / late May, when the Black Lives Matter movement, which started in 2013, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, gained more traction again, I became aware of it through social media and Instagram posts. To be honest, I think I'm incredibly privileged, or maybe sheltered, but also privileged. I did not know about police brutality or what like conservatives were, or how cruel some people in the world were before this summer. Like my basic knowledge consisted of I'm not a Republican, capitalism sucks, but not much more in terms of politics. I was mainly just in my own little world and little bubble, just living my life. I can say that these past few months have definitely radicalized me, and I've grown and learned a lot. However, when I was just learning about all of these things that were happening in the world everywhere, and I became aware of it mostly through Instagram, and I'm sure many of your timelines and were flooded with things concerning Black Lives Matter, which is a good thing. But when I was seeing all those posts, I was just reposting almost every single thing that I saw on Instagram onto my story without like checking or doing my own research. I wasn't thinking about misinformation and thought that everything I saw was pretty much true or something that I agreed with. And if I saw that all of my friends were reposting it too, then it's probably true. That was until there was one post that was going around that we were kind of skeptical on, but everyone was already reposting it too. I'm sorry if I'm talking really fast. I should slow down. Um, One of my friends posted on their story something saying this post is completely false. It's not true. And I was like, whoa, that's why they're researching. I asked them about it later. They were like, "Oh yeah, I do research on on a lot of the things that I see just to see if I should share it before I post it." And I was like, "Jesus, why am I not doing that? Why am I just believing everything that I see?" The whole internet is at our fingertips, and we should be utilizing it as such. I believe social media is full of information, especially relating to political and social issues, and it's a great platform to share your opinions on things. And while it's a wonderful place to start learning, you should never rely on social media to be your only source of information. I know that there are tons of wonderful accounts and organizations that are spreading information at rapid speeds that are mainly accurate, but only so many words can fit into a single Instagram post. Additionally, posts can be like one sided without considering other perspectives or not including full stories. There are some posts that could also just be completely not true, but you wouldn't know that or recognize it if you didn't look into it yourself. Adding on to this when researching, it's also super important to see where your sources come from, especially in this age of misinformation that's spoon fed to us with sprinkles of some propaganda and bias. It's so dangerous to spread misinformation for several reasons. First of all, saying things that could be just completely not true could end up causing widespread panic and division. Second of all, free speech and the ability to learn is one of our most valuable skills that I believe. And you shouldn't take that for granted. You should use your voice and project it widely. I also want to mention that you can't believe everything someone says if they're in a position of power or an authority figure. This video, this wonderful TikTok from Hank Green, who most of you also probably knows a peripheral example of that, so I'll just play that right now.
An eyelash or a dog hair in your eye, and you can't get it.
No one will tell you this, but there's a pouch called the lacrimal sac, and all of your eyelashes go into there. By the time you're an old person like me, your lacrimal sac fills with eyelashes, and then you just have to have a procedure, and they don't tell you about this when you're young because it's gross, and they suck all the eyelashes out of your lacrimal sac and they give them to you in a small vial. I have mine around here somewhere. Could you tell I was lying? Like, at what point did you figure out I was lying? Because this is important. Just because someone in a position of authority is telling you something does not mean that they are always right. I will be wrong about stuff sometimes, and sometimes I'll just be fucking with you. Anyway, they sometimes come out in your sleep, and then when you like rub your sleep out of your eye, there's actually a bunch of eyelashes clumped in with all of this stuff. But it does eventually come out one way or another.
See, so this is a perfect example of that. When I first watched this video, I believed it too, but as he says, we can't go around believing everything that celebrities or politicians or people that we look up to tell us. Do your own research and make up your own mind on important things to you instead of taking ideologies or facts from someone where they may not be completely true or something that you actually agree with, but you are agreeing with just because you like the person that said it. Okay, next, part 4, privilege and passion. I'm assuming that a lot of us live in the United States where we have access to information almost freely. And I believe that that's a privilege. Some countries like China, for example, have such strict restrictions on what their citizens can see and research, and access to so much information in a matter of seconds is a privilege. Like when you do a Google search, they normally have that thing at the top. There's like a billion results found in 0.3 seconds, and that's a privilege. Secondly, even having access to an internet connection is a privilege. About 19 million people in America don't have access to an internet connection, and I believe it's our job and our privilege to learn because other people can't, to fight so that everyone can have access to information and to learn and grow and flourish. That's the importance of education, because without education, there's ignorance, and ignorance is, as you can probably tell, really, really dangerous. As I've said before, learning, even though schools can sometimes hinder that, is one of our most powerful capabilities, and don't forget it. Speaking of schools, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, which what you shouldn't do most of the time, but because this is a Gen Z summit, this is an educated guess. Most of us are in school. I myself am an 8th grader in middle school. Although I personally love school, I know a bunch of people who would rather be just about anywhere else. Especially now, learning becomes increasingly difficult online because honestly, being on the computer for too long gives people headaches, makes their eyes hurt. And it's difficult with teachers who assign tons of homework with little time to do it, and students who don't have good internet connections to attend their classes. However, I don't think it's teachers' fault. They're trying their best just like everyone else, and they have to assign work to get through the government curriculum even though they may not want to. Falling behind on a schedule can make it impossible for them to catch up. And I believe most teachers do have good intentions. They want us to want to learn, but half of what they teach is some sort of bogus that we will basically never need. However, in the American school system, they're teaching us what to learn instead of teaching us how to, something that not most people recognize or address. So, how do we develop a passion to learn? Well, how honestly, I believe that most of us did have that passion, that drive to learn at one point, but school and sucky teachers with really strange curriculums just took that and absolutely crushed it for most people. I remember earlier on in my life, I was always eager to learn as a child, and I even started school super early when I was like around 2. However, from around like 4th to 7th grade, that just completely vanished. It disappeared, evaporated, went poof. And whenever I got something below a 90% on a test or homework, I would just completely freak. I'm sure most of you know that experience too, or maybe going through that right now. It's hard to want to learn when actual learning is stifled by tests and homework and more. Additionally, the unconscious association that people have with the concept of education as a bad thing due to the negative way we perceive school is an extra hurdle to tackle. So, where do we start? For me personally, and I can't speak for everyone because everyone has their own experiences and their own lives, but I started learning about what I'm passionate about, which is helping people. And that helped me get back into really learning. And the enrichment was, and just the feeling of being able to learn something new was rejuvenating and honestly feels great. So for now, I just want to give you guys an opportunity to think a little bit about what you're passionate about. Maybe it's global issues, maybe it's political structures, maybe it's how paper is made or the DNA makeup of a horse. I don't know. But I want to give you guys about this amazing Girl in Red songs time to write something that you're passionate about. Write something that you're passionate about in the chat or in this Google Doc, and I'll put the link in the chat if you guys would like to, or you can just put it in the chat. Put this link. Lord. God, everything's so slow. Okay, I hope you guys can access that. And I'm gonna play the Girl in Red song. This is a shout out to Sapphics. Oh, that's a wonderful ad. And I'm going to be speaking while the music's playing. I hope you can hear me. But I just want you to write maybe a few sentences or a paragraph about what you're passionate about and want to learn about, and do it. Take whatever it is, start going into it, write a random essay if you want to, or tell your friends all about it. Just go on your story about every single thing about it. Take whatever it is and feel the energy and learn. I also understand that people may not have the time, motivation, or energy to do that. That's completely okay. But for now, because everyone's already here, I would like you to just at least type one sentence about what you're passionate about or want to learn about. Say no in the talk, I won't see. I don't have a lot to give, but I will give you everything. All my time is yours to spend. I like how you guys are all anonymous animals too. With my skin, with my skin. Two queens in a king size bed, like angels in the snow. My only wish is one more year, and then I want them all. Your freckled cheeks, our tangled feet. The closer the better it gets, so let's stay right here until forever disappear. I don't have a lot to give, but I will give you everything. All my time is yours to spend. Let me wrap you in with my skin, with my skin. Two queens in a king size bed. There's no mistletoe above our heads, but I'll kiss you anyway on Christmas Day. Wow, guys, these are all wonderful. I love reading about what other people are interested in. And if you guys want, you can continue typing on this as I'm talking. And I highly encourage all of you to start researching and learning about anything that you're passionate about, because that's what really let me open my heart and mind up to wanting to learn. So give it a try. Whoops. Not the song again. Oh, okay. While writing this speech that I'm currently reading off of my phone, off of the Notes app, I also had a thought occur to me that there have been so many influential voices and people throughout history who have contributed to the foundations of education and educational rights, and I want to talk about them for a little bit. After all, we're trying to learn here, and this was something that I found interesting that I thought I should share with all of you. I know that there are probably a ton of people who we could probably name immediately, like Aristotle or maybe John Locke. So today I would specifically like to recognize women, BIPOC, and other people from minority communities who have had humongous impacts on education and how it's progressed worldwide. If you know of any people you'd like to recognize or talk about, feel free to in the chat. And if there are any, I'll be reading them after I talk about these people. This is quite a list, so stay with me. First is Anant Agarwal. I hope I'm saying this right. He is an Indian American MIT professor, and he's also the CEO of edX. edX is a platform where people can enroll in college level classes for free, and I started doing one over the summer. I think it's an amazing platform that's really well built, so I would encourage all of you to check it out if you're interested in things like that. Next is Arun Alagappan, who is the founder or co-founder of several things, such as Math Prize for Girls, which is a math competition with the single highest monetary math award for women, Trials, the training and recruitment initiative for admission to leading law schools, and he is also the vice president of Leader Enterprise for Diverse America, LEDA, which is a nonprofit dedicated to helping high-achieving students from low-income and diverse backgrounds gain admission to the nation's most selective colleges. So I think this guy is also pretty cool. Next on this list is Saul Khan, and you might already know this one because he is the founder of Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a platform for students and people to learn new things or get extra help on what they might need help on. And I'm sure I've had to do this before in school, and I think it's a very cool platform. And I think you should check it out if you're ever stuck on something. Next is, did one of my slides delete? Oh, no, I just skipped it. Next is Maria Montessori, who, and I quote from the American Montessori Society, designed learning materials and a classroom environment that fostered the children's natural desire to learn and provided freedom for them to choose their own materials. She basically created new environments for students to actually engage themselves in instead of teachers just writing stuff on a whiteboard and yelling at students. And most of her teaching methods are still followed today. Booker T. Washington is probably a name that you might recognize, as his work in education opened up new worlds for Black people. He was the founder of the Tuskegee Institute, which was a school for Black people, because before this there were no schools where Black people could go to learn. And he believed that if Black people could learn, they could also fight for their civil rights, and he was right. Finally, we have Margaret Bancroft, who helped revolutionize teaching children with disabilities. She recognized that children still had the ability to learn even with disabilities if given the right individualized care and teaching methods. Now, let me see if you guys have put any in the chat. No, I don't think so, but that is wonderful. All these people are amazing. I encourage all of you guys, if you're interested, to look more into them. Moving on in the last section of my speech, I just want to encourage you all to never stop learning. As people say, you learn something new every day. There's an endless world of possibilities and information out there for you to learn and absorb like your SpongeBob SquarePants, like a sponge. I want to thank you all for listening and even coming to the summit. It shows that you're willing to learn, and I'm proud of all of you for listening for so long. I know most of you have been listening for the entire day. I'd also like to thank the Gen Z We Are the Future team for putting on this amazing event. Oh, I saw that there were some questions in the chat. I mean, not in the chat, in the Q&A part. Wait. How do I get to there?
I can just read you the questions if you want. Okay, so one of the questions was, how do you balance so many activities at once in daily life?
Well, for most of my activities, some of them are low time commitment, most of them actually are. But for things in school, I normally do them like in school, which only takes about like 2 hours of my day. And then after for any extracurriculars for that, I don't know, it seems like it's not that much to me, but I also have a bad sleeping schedule, which is not a good thing. I just put that out there. The romanticization of overworking yourself is not a good thing, but I find it I take breaks occasionally to balance it out, like to take breaks from school. Um mm, I'm sorry, this is a really bad answer, but I just try to get off of social media for as much time as possible to be able to do all my work. And then I go and talk to my friends and things like that, which I feel like a lot of people would say, but that's basically it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do too. Like, I honestly don't really get how people procrastinate. Like, I just feel like I just finish my homework and then do stuff. Okay, there's another question. Kylie asked, how do you feel our school systems could adapt or change to make students more aware of these issues without forcing them to search it on social media?
Well, I feel for schools, a lot of schools are very traditional, in my opinion. Like they have the traditional subjects, like language arts, reading, math, history, science, those things. But to make them students more aware of things that are happening in the world, I'd propose something maybe like an elective class or things like that, where people could take it if they wanted to and learn about all of these things that are happening in the world with, or maybe even like join a club or something. Taxes classes. I'm pretty sure there are politics classes actually, but um I think, or maybe even a club like I'm starting a club called Project Human Rights, as I said before, and people can join to learn about all these new things, to learn about all these new things, raise awareness, and advocate for all of these new things. So I'd ha- I'd suggest maybe if you wanted to start your own club, that's just an option. But and I don't think there's really a way to force schools to have those classes unless there would be a teacher willing. But like there's some like ethnic studies class that I think diversify our narrative and other organizations are fighting for. I think that's what they're doing right now. But for now, while things are still like this, I would say start a club talking about all the things that you want to, you know? So if you guys have any more questions, and if you guys don't have any more questions, thank you all for listening. I've been talking for a really long time and my time is almost up, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now or emails or DM me personally. My email is asar2122@gmail.com and my Instagram is @loisar. I hope you all have wonderful days and don't forget to keep on learning. Also,
Thank
this
you.
wonderful presentation was brought to you by SlidesGo.
Yeah, SlidesGo is amazing. And thank you so much for presenting that for us.
Yeah,
Thank you all for giving the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
We really enjoyed, and I'm sure the audience did too.
Yeah, I think the audience really enjoyed that one.
They definitely had a lot of fun.